There's just something about being trapped in the snow that makes a horror or a thriller book hit even harder. What's up, friends? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. If anyone is new here, my name is Bree. I read a lot of books and I don't stop talking about them. Now that it's December, I am definitely a seasonal reader, and so I wanted to make a video recommending thriller books that take place in a wintry setting or involve some sort of snowstorm. I love an atmospheric book, and something about the isolation of a snowstorm just really elevates the thriller elements in a book, so I have a handful that I'm going to go through. Let's get right into it. First up is one of my favorite reads. This is The Girls in the Cabin by Caleb Stevens. This is a thriller book, however, I would say it borderlines on horror because of some of the things that happen in this book are just like very nail-biting. This one follows a father and his two daughters. They're going out on a camping trip to kind of try and reconnect. Things have been difficult between them since their mom passed away, and he just wants to spend some quality time with the girls. While hiking, an accident occurs and one of the girls ends up breaking her leg. They need to find refuge as soon as possible because there's a snowstorm rolling in, and they find a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. It is their only option, and so they go there to seek refuge. Caleb Stevens is one of my favorite authors. He has a way of telling a story that really just keeps you on the edge of your seat. You become invested in the characters, and the way that the story is told is just so captivating. I could not look away from this one, even during some of the more like crazier parts. I couldn't put it down. This is a great book. The next one I have is a classic. I feel like this is a very well-loved thriller book. It's The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkauf. This is another thriller that takes place during a massive snowstorm. This one follows a woman who writes true crime stories, and she's on a retreat in this isolated farmhouse to write her next book when the snowstorm comes in, and she's snowed in pretty badly, but then she ends up finding a small child outside in the snow. This is another one where the tension is just super high. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. Like I said, this is a very well-known, well-loved book, and for good reason. I highly recommend this one. I enjoyed this so very much. It is the perfect winter thriller read. The next one I have is actually a series, and I cannot recommend this series enough, especially if you love that wintry, snowed-in, scary aspect. It's the Black Winter series by Darcy Coates, and the first book is going to be Voices in the Snow. I would describe this one as a dystopian, wintry horror. It's so good. We follow a woman named Claire who's at home. She turns on the TV to find some breaking news. All around the country, places are going dark. They're being cut off from communications, surveillance, everything. The darkness seems to be spreading, and people are being encouraged to seek shelter because they don't know if it's going to affect their area or not, or they don't know what's going on. So Claire packs up her car and plans to go drive to get her sister, and they're going to bunker down together until whatever this is passes. The snowstorm is absolutely crazy, and people are abandoning their cars on the road. Claire loses control of her car, she crashes and kind of doesn't remember anything. She wakes up in someone else's home who rescued her, and it's just the two of them. They need to wait out the storm together in this stranger's old Gothic style mansion. I swear it sounds like I'm giving away too much of the plot, but I promise I'm not. That's just the very beginning. That's what happened. Places are being cut off from the map. She's gonna go get her sister and they're gonna bunker down together. She doesn't make it there. Instead, she's taken in by this stranger and now has no choice but to stay there and ride out the storm. There is something lurking outside in the storm, though. This is like the horror aspect of the book, and it is just so well done. The dread and the creepiness and the unpredictable tension that is in this story is one of my favorites. My favorite thing about this series is that it is completely finished. Like, you will start the series and you will finish the series with all your answers. Is this the last book? Hopefully I'm holding up the last book. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was so fun, so different, so unique. It's something that I read and it stayed permanently on my mind because I've never really read anything like this. Next, I'm going to recommend a little horror novella. This is 106 pages long. It's called Below by Laurel Hightower, and it's just a fun time time. This is a very chaotic little book. We follow a woman who's driving through the mountains during a snowstorm. She's trying to get to her destination, and it's getting dark. We're nearing the end of the day. At a rest stop, she meets a truck driver who's headed in the same direction, and she agrees to follow behind his truck as they drive through the snowstorm so that she technically won't be driving alone. They set off on their drive, and when his semi-truck goes over a bridge, she has to decide whether or not to climb down there and check on him or to just keep it moving. And this turns into an absolute nightmare. This is a crazy one. It's the type of book you could just read in one sitting. It's very wild, but it's a good time. I really enjoyed this one. Next, I have another Darcy Coates book. This is Dead of Winter, and this is like one of her thriller books. This one is very straightforward. It's about 8 strangers who are on a tour group. They're heading into the Rocky Mountains when a huge snowstorm comes through and forces them to stop their travels and take shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin. In the middle of the night, their tour guide goes missing, and the next day they find his body, like, really weirdly severed. And of course, everybody is looking at one another like, who are these people? This one is fun. It's honestly not one of my favorite books of hers. I'm a huge Darcy Coates fan, so I do read everything that she writes. It's a good time, especially if you're looking for something with that wintry thriller snowstorm aspect. This is definitely worth your time. But yeah, it's a good book. Not one of my favorites of hers, but I still liked it enough to recommend it. Next, we have We Used to Live Here. This one got a lot of attention when it first released and had a lot of mixed reviews. I'm curious to know what you guys thought of this one if you have read it. Did you love it or did you hate it? Because I feel like nobody really falls in between, but for me, I loved this. This was a good time. It's definitely more of a psychological horror, but it follows a couple who just bought and moved into an older home that they're planning on renovating. A snowstorm is starting to roll in and there's a random knock on the door. One of the women answers the door to find a man and his family, and the man claims that he used to live in this house. He's wanting to know if he can come in and show his family around where he grew up. This story would have ended on like page 5 if this was me, because I would have said absolutely not and closed that door, but this lady lets them in. As soon as these strangers enter the home, the vibes are just weird and it seems like they don't want to leave. That's where the psychological aspect of this book comes in. This will really put your mind to the test as a reader. You'll be forming your own assumptions. You'll also feel like you're being led to think specific things by the writing. I thought this was a very cool book. This kept me entertained the entire time. Was it crazy and weird? Yes, but that's what I enjoyed about it. So if you're into books like this, I would definitely recommend it. If you're not into books like that, maybe skip this one. But for me, I enjoyed it. I have one more book, and it's going to be Snowblind by Christopher Golden. However, I have not yet read this book, and I don't know what it's about. I'm just assuming that it's going to take place in a snowstorm because, hello, and also it's a horror book because that's what Christopher Golden writes. Let's look this one up real quick and see what it's about. I know Christopher Golden is an extremely popular author. If you have read this, I would love to know your thoughts. It's been on my shelf for a while. I should probably pick it up this winter. The small New England town of Coventry has weathered 1,000 blizzards, but never one like this, where people wandered into the whiteout and vanished, families were torn apart, and the town would never be the same. 12 years later, as a new storm approaches, the folks of Coventry are haunted by the memories of that dreadful blizzard and those who were lost in the snow. It looks like there's several people who lost loved ones in that storm, and then it says that all the way on the other side of the country, someone named Miri receives a phone call from a man who died 12 years ago. As old ghosts trickle back, the new storm will prove to be even more terrifying than the last. This is definitely giving very much like psychological, supernatural thriller / horror. It sounds good, and it's actually less than 300 pages, so it's a really quick read. Please let me know if you have any insight on this one. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you read any of these books, please come back and let me know what you thought of them. Also, if you have any more thriller or horror book recs that fall into this category, leave them below in the comments so I could look into them. I know there are a handful more that I missed in this video, but this is my short little list of ones that I recommend. So happy reading, and I'll see you guys in the next video.